Here in Minnesota, in the 21st century, we take for granted things like a free public school education. But 150 years ago, a good education of any kind was far from guaranteed. A newspaper article from the St. Paul Pioneer in 1852 laments the lack of decent schoolhouses in St. Paul, especially when townspeople could afford to build half a dozen churches. The writer describes local children as little, untaught brats swarming about the streets and along the levee in utter idleness, like wharf rats. With hopes of a better future, a group of 11 citizens established the St. Paul School Board in 1856, believing that good schools would attract good settlers to their growing city. Within a few years, an elementary school education was commonplace in St. Paul, but there was a growing demand for higher education. In 1866, St. Paul High School opened. It occupied 2 rooms of the Franklin Building. The first graduating class was a total of 1 girl and 1 boy. Their diplomas were hand-printed on sheepskin. In 1883, after a succession of ever larger locations, a brand new 27-room building was completed at 10th and Minnesota Streets. It was named St. Paul Central High School and was notable for having its own observatory and telescope. The student body continued to grow, and in 1912, a new school with a castle-like tower was built at the current location of Lexington and Marshall Avenues. The plan was to call it Lexington High, but alumni convinced the school board to keep the name Central. However, they did adopt as their school mascot the Minuteman, which is identified with the Battle of Lexington from the Revolutionary War. The current school was completed in 1981 and actually encases the structure of the former building. It is the only 5-story high school in Minnesota. But a school is more than a building. It is the students and faculty that make a great school. St. Paul Central has a rich history of preparing young men and women to achieve great things. From 1902 to 1955, Central graduated 11 Rhodes Scholars, more than any other public school in the U.S. The school's Hall of Fame is impressive. Here's just a few well-known alumni from Central. Photographer and writer Gordon Parks, founder of Best Buy Corporation, Richard M. Schulz, Baseball Hall of Famer Dave Winfield, and creator of the Peanuts comic strip, Charles Schulz, and most recently, co-founder of YouTube, Javed Karim. For 140 years, St. Paul Central High School has set and achieved high standards for educating the young people of our capital city. As part of the St. Paul Public Schools, this tradition of excellence continues into a 3rd century.